Hello students, I'm back again with another set of extract based questions of A Horse and Two Goats. And after discussing these question answers, you will find a few slides which will depict the theme of the story A Horse and Two Goats. So you must make a note of all those. So here we go. Which statue is referred to in the extract? Yes, my dear children. Can you guess? Yes, some of you can. It is the statue of the horse which stood on a pedestal, and the statue was placed on the outskirts of the village Kritham where Muni lived. And it was Muni's usual routine to take his goats to the place near the statue and he used to let them graze around while he would sit on the pedestal and rest for the whole day till it got dark in the evening, and then he returned home. So describe the statue of the horse. So my dear children, the statue was life size. It was made of burnt brightly colored clay, and it stood with its head held high and its forelegs prancing in the air. Prancing. That's really a nice word for you to learn. Prancing means to move with springy legs, the way you may have seen statues of, life-size statues of a horse, and the way their legs just, prance in the air. So that is what is to show those springy legs in the air. So that is the description of the horse. Now the next question. How did the statue of the warrior look? Yes, my dear children, I have already explained to you that there was a warrior that stood beside the horse which stood, and the warrior had, he looked like a man of strength, and he had scythe-like mustachios, bulging eyes, and an aquiline nose. So scythe-like means like an instrument used for cutting grass, like a blade. Mustachios are mustaches, bulging eyes, protruding eyes, and aquiline nose means eagle-like nose. How did the image makers describe him as a man of strength? Yes, the image makers described him as a man of strength because of his mustachios, because of his aquiline nose and his bulging eyes. He looked like a man of strength. Through his description, he was described as a man of strength. Okay. Now, the next question. Why didn't Muni, the villagers, or the Vandals notice the splendor of the statue of the horse? Yes. So my dear children, this statue was something which remained unnoticed by Muni, by the villagers, by the Vandals. Vandals, how many of you know what Vandals means? Children, I have given all the meanings to you already. But let me tell you once again, Vandals are persons who deliberately try to damage property. So somehow this remained unnoticed by all these people. Now, it was probably because once upon a time the statue had been closer to the population of the village when this spot bordered the village. But now it had, the spot had moved a little ahead towards the highway. We mean to say that the villagers had, confided themselves to one particular area that was in the range of the village. Alright. Why didn't Mooney go back home early? Now, the one thing more I want to tell you for the previous answer is that nobody actually from the village noticed its existence, and Mooney, who spent all his days at the foot of the statue, he also never bothered to look up. So you can say it remained unnoticed. Nobody from the now. Why didn't Mooney go back home early? Now, Mooney did not go back home early because he wanted to give his wife time to cool off her temper and feel sympathetic enough to arrange some food for him. So he thought, by the time I reach home, her temper would have cooled down and she would have managed to get some food by earning in the big house. Briefly state the difference in the financial status of Mooney and the American. Yes, my dear children, there's a lot of difference in the financial status, and so it does reflect the theme. There's a theme of, there's a clash on the theme of clash between materialism and spiritualism. So Mooney was an old man residing in Pritham village. He once lived a very prosperous life and reared a flock of 40 sheep and goats, but now he was left with 2 goats. Mooney wanted to enjoy life, but he had lost all his riches. He was a man who lived more in the past than in the present. And he was uneducated, poor, and a rural man. Now, the red-faced man or the American was a typically wealthy American. He was polite and courteous. You can quote an example because he offered a cigarette also to Mooney. And he was a typical American tourist who wished to take back home the statue as a souvenir. So you can, by quoting this example that he wanted to take back the statue of the horse, take back to his land, you can say that he was a wealthy man. He was an educated also person. So there is the difference in the financial status. And now here it depicts the theme of clash between materialism and spiritualism. Mooney was a spiritualistic man and the American was a materialistic man, concerned about the worldly things, the objects, for example, the horse's statue, which he wanted to take back home. Whereas Mooney believed in God, in religious, all the religious matters which he had learnt from his ancestors. So that is it. Now we come to the next extract. Describe the arrival of the red-faced foreigner. Yes, my dear children, if you remember, the red-faced foreigner entered the story in a strange yellow vehicle, which was a station wagon. He stopped it, got down, went around it, and he poked under the vehicle because he tried to look under his vehicle, because his car had run out of gas. So he was probably looking for a gas station. Then, who was the foreigner? What did the foreigner say looking at the clay horse? Yes, the foreigner was the American or a tourist who had come to visit India. Why? What did he say looking at the... He commented, marvelous. State the feelings of Mooney after meeting the foreigner. Why did he have such feelings? As soon as Mooney met the foreigner, his first impulse, his first reaction was to run away. But his age did not allow him. So probably how old was he? He was 70. He assumed the foreigner to be a policeman or a soldier inquiring about the probably the rumored murder which had taken place a few weeks back. under the tamarind tree on the outskirts, on the borders between Kritam and Kappam. So he had such feelings that this man is probably a policeman or a soldier who has come inquiring about all this. Looking at the clothes of the foreigner, what did Mooney think? Now, the foreigner was wearing khaki clothes. So it made Mooney think that he is either a policeman or a soldier. How did the foreigner put him at ease? Now, to put Mooney at ease, the foreigner pressed his palms together, smiled, and said, "Namaste." How do you do? So, this is how the foreigner tried to put him at ease. Having exhausted his English vocabulary, what did Mooney say in Tamil? Now, Mooney said in Tamil, he just knew yes or no. So after having spoken those two words, now he started speaking in Tamil, and he said that his name was Mooney and the goats belonged to him. to him. And he also said that he would not deny that his village was full of slanderers who would claim that what was not theirs, means would not hesitate to say what belongs to a man doesn't belong to him. He said all this to the foreigner. What is referred to as, then we come to who was the foreigner, next extract. What was his background? Now, the foreigner was the American or an American tourist who had come to India. He was a rich American businessman who dealt in coffee. His business was coffee. What is referred to as the courtesies of the seasons? Now, courtesies of the seasons here means the foreigner's polite behavior. So, on meeting Mooney for the first time, the foreigner depicted a polite behavior, and as a courtesy, he offered Mooney a cigarette. Now, Mooney, being a Tamil speaking man, could not understand the foreigner, and he just used the only English words he knew. They were yes and no. So, this is the answer of the second part. State Mooney's earlier experience of smoking a cigarette. Now, Mooney remembered the cigarette the shopman had once given him on credit, and he recalled how good it had tasted. So, when the foreigner flicked the light open, Mooney was very confused about how to act. So, he just blew on the light and put it out. He got very confused. What were the consequences of smoking an American cigarette? Now, Mooney hadn't smoken a cigarette for very long, and that too now this American cigarette, which was made up of pure tobacco. He had never smoked this, so he started coughing, and his head started reeling, and he became, very distressed. Yet he felt it was extremely pleasant. Mooney's fears and anxieties. Last question. Now, Mooney feared that the business card was an arrest warrant, and so he moved back. So, what does this reflect about Mooney? Now, this reflects that Mooney was a simple, innocent, and a God-fearing person who later on, thinking that the foreigner has come to arrest him on the account of the murder that has taken place, wanted to tell him everything about the murder. So he was a God-fearing man. Next extract. Why did Mooney speak in a fearful tone in the extract? Now, Mooney a mutilated body had been found thrown under a tamarind tree at the border between Kritam and Kuppam a few weeks ago, as I've just told you, children. So Mooney feared that the khaki-clad foreigner was a policeman inquiring about the murder. So the man spoke to Mooney, offered him a cigarette. Mooney realized now he could not run, and so he spoke in a very fearful tone to talk his way out of trouble in order to avoid any kind of trouble. Next, which case is Mooney referring to in the extract? Now here, children, the case of the mutilated body. Again, you can repeat the same, which was found under the tamarind tree between the borders, at the border between Kritam and Kuppam a few weeks ago. Why did he say that he did not know anything about the case and God only knew about it? He said he did not know, probably because he thought the man will arrest him, and thinking that he is somewhere involved in the murder. What characteristic trait of Mooney is revealed? Now here we can say that Mooney actually was a God-fearing man. Again, you can repeat this answer. And so that is why he was also a spiritualistic man, a man who had learnt the religious ways from his ancestors. Explain why Mooney spoke of a murder with the foreigner. Just to avoid the situation so that he doesn't get caught. Then yes, so explain why Mooney spoke of a murder with the foreigner. Now Mooney mistook the foreigner's khaki dress and thought that the foreigner was a policeman who was investigating the case of that mutilated body thrown under a tamarind tree a few weeks ago. What does it reveal about Mooney's behavior? Now this reveals that he was fearful. He had become anxious and was scared. So that is why he started speaking like this to the foreigner. State how the title of the story. So there's a repetition of answers, children, you can see. So at times it happens. The same question can be framed in various ways. An answer could be the same. Next question. How the title of the story, A Horse and Two Goats, is relevant? Now it's an apt title. Although the hero or the protagonist of the story is Mooney, who drives the story forward, the major part of the story is a dialogue between the American and Mooney concerning the horse statue. From the beginning of the story, it is observed that Mooney is left with two goats. It is only when the goats are being taken to graze near the highway that Mooney's chance encounter with the American takes place. Mooney, who's sitting on the pedestal of the statue, is assumed to be its owner by the American. Mooney, on the other hand, doesn't understand what the foreigner says. When the American gives Mooney a 100-rupee note as a price for the statue, Mooney gets confused. He assumes it to be the price of his two goats. So, my dear children, A Horse and Two Goats is quite relevant, as the dialogue is between the two men is for the horse, and had it not been for Mooney's goats, had he not taken them to make them graze around the pedestal, he would not have been able to sell those goats and would not have even met the American. So, A Horse and Two Goats is pretty relevant. How is the clash of cultures brought about in the story? Now, see children, I'll just give you in short, and then there is a slide where you can find the answer of this. So, on one hand, Mooney is the representative of typical Indian native, poor, rural, uneducated. He doesn't know English and he's striving hard to make a living. On the other hand, we have the American who knows no Tamil but expects Mooney to understand English. He's wealthy, urban, and educated. So this is all for the extract based question. Now the slide is there for you, discussing the theme of the story. Yes, so here we go with the themes of A Horse and Two Goats. Now the first could be clash of cultures. This is all what I've just discussed with you. Poor, rural, uneducated, knows no English, striving hard to make a living. American, knows no Tamil, expects Mooney to understand English. Wealthy, urban, and educated. He's only interested in a business deal with Mooney. Both are ignorant of each other's way of life. The West, ignorant of poverty, hunger, bad weather, which is like these things are like everyday troubles in the East. He's unaware of all those. So there's a clash of cultures. Second is materialism versus spiritualism. American, he's a materialistic man. Mooney, spiritualistic. American is just wanting to buy the horse, unconcerned with any kind of religious importance of the statue, and he's ready to replace his books to make place for the statue in his house, and statue was like a souvenir for him. Whereas Mooney has inherited all the scriptural and religious knowledge from his ancestors. He believes that God will save humans from all evil. He also believes that this world and all other worlds will come to an end, and the Redeemer will come in the shape of a horse called Kalki. The horse will come to life and trample down all bad men or all evil. Next is wealth and property. Again, Mooney is poor. Even at the time of his prosperous days, his standard of living was still below that of the American. And American is unaware of the difference between Mooney and himself. He offers cigarette to Mooney, thinking that this is something natural for him. Complains about 4 hours without having any air conditioning, and he also brags and talks a lot about enjoying manual labor as a Sunday hobby, which he says he collects all the driftwood from the back of his house. And then he also offers money for the horse statue to Mooney without thinking anything about money. Knowledge and ignorance. Mooney is a member of a lower caste where Brahmins could only at that time attend school. So he was uneducated. He hadn't traveled beyond the boundaries of his village. He loved watching trucks and lorries passing by because it gave him a sense of belonging to the larger world. And the American was educated, had a whole lot of books in his house, room full of books. He valued them as object rather than what was in them. So he was not concerned about what was there in the books, but just that he had some nice and expensive books. Then he was very well familiar with the larger world. Mooney tries to convey the significance of the horse to the American, but he sees it as a living room decoration. That is the crux of the whole story, you can see. So my dear children, this is all. I hope you've understood the chapter and the extract based questions well. Any queries, please put them up. Revise well. Thank you.